Hey, Alan here, and welcome to my channel, RVacrossAmerica.net. And this is going to be a challenging post and challenging video. I've rewritten the post so many times trying to make sure I get all the wording just right. It's about frame flex, which is more appropriately referred to as frame failure. Before I get into that, um, I'm fresh off my recent post of, I think it was May 20th snow. Well, it's May 22nd as I record this, and we have a winter storm watch up for tonight. And there are winter storm warnings up for the higher elevation above about 8,000 feet, 7,500 feet, where the National Weather Service is confident there's going to be 2 to 3 feet of snow tonight and tomorrow morning. Unbelievable. Um, Enough said on that. This post is going to be at rvacrossAmerica.net/frameflex. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Even if you're seeing it on another video service, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'm trying to build the channel. I want more people to be able to get the word on the thoughts that I'm sharing, and I'm hoping that I have thoughts that are of value. And for that reason, leave a comment. Let me know. Is this resonating with you? Is it a waste of time? What is it? Um, so this is again, a big post. It's about a potentially major issue that a lot of people, not a lot, there are a number of people on YouTube that have been reporting on this as it happened to them. I am not affected, but there are people out there yelling and screaming to the hills that they are suffering, their trailers are suffering from frame flex, and again, that is another term for frame failure. And that is a big deal. If this is affecting a significant percentage of RV campers, then the manufacturers and the frame manufacturer have a big problem on their hands. On the other hand, we don't know that. And I'm going to get into this and I'm going to kind of take, as always, a different tact and a different perspective on the situation because I'm me. The post itself has a number of great photos in it, but they're not of frame damage. Frame damage is something you can't easily see. Even if you go to YouTube and look up the videos of these people complaining about frame flex in their campers, there's not much to show other than maybe a little bit of interior damage, but the situation is serious nonetheless. So I put in photos of historic Butte. I've been spending more and more time as the weather has warmed up, except for these intermittent snowstorms. As the weather has warmed up, I've been spending time in Butte. I find it fascinating. You'll see in the post some of the photos of historic Butte, and I think it's a place worth visiting. And I've yet still to go to the historic walks that they offer. So that's going to happen, and also to check out the structures that you can go down. I don't know if you can go down now, but that they used to go down into the elevator shafts to do the mining. I seriously doubt that you can go down, but I'm going to check those out. So, and the photos of Butte are from recent times in mid-May. Again, rvcrossamerica.net/frame flex. So, I viewed a number of reports, and forgive me as I go over to my notes. I've got to check these to make sure that I stay on track here, stay on task. I viewed a number of reports from camper owners of what is essentially frame failure, often referred to as frame flex. There's a certain amount of flex in any RV's frame, particularly trailers, that's normal. I mean, if this thing was rigid, it just wouldn't function going down the road. It needs to be able to flex, but excessive flex, which is more appropriately called frame failure, because what's probably happened, and I use the word probably because nobody can actually see this until they actually strip the outer skin from the camper and remove the underbelly protectant. But it's probably either the breaking of um, welds in the frame or the breaking of welds in the aluminum cage. And what you need to understand is there's a lot of finger pointing going on right now because the aluminum cage, basically the frame that your camper, I'm sitting in my camper right now, and there's an aluminum cage around me that allows a trailer to exist. That was, in my case, built by Northwood because I'm in an outdoors RV. And the frame, in my case, was built by Northwood. That's not the case with most manufacturers. Most manufacturers, most RV manufacturers, trailer manufacturers rely on one supplier for their camper frame. So there could be breaks in the welds there. There could be breaks in the welds in the aluminum cage because the aluminum cage has a simple job to maintain a square arrangement so that when I walk up into my bedroom, for example, I don't find the wall separating from the ceiling or the floor going cattywampus because there's breaks in the welding. So there's a lot of finger pointing going on because the RV manufacturers are saying we didn't do it, and the frame manufacturer is saying, well, we're not responsible for this, and the consumer is stuck in the middle. Now, most of these videos are coming from one RV manufacturer that are most of the people experiencing this. It's coming from one RV manufacturer, but I can tell you from my research, there are more RV manufacturers involved in this. But again, that doesn't mean that you can necessarily point to the frame manufacturer. I explain all this in great detail in my post. And again, rvcrossamerica.net/frameflex. So, to my knowledge, all of the affected RV manufacturers are using the same frame or chassis manufacturer. That's another way of expressing this. There's a subtle difference between what a frame is and what a chassis is, but they're, for all intents and purposes, the same device. And again, I want you to be careful not to draw conclusions on this and immediately blame the frame manufacturer. And believe me, I'm not running cover for this frame manufacturer, but I know that they work with the RV manufacturers to build a frame to spec for each individual model that the RV manufacturer is building. And it's up to the RV manufacturer to stick to the details that they gave the frame manufacturer in order to produce something that supposedly everybody is going to say will work. Um, so I was led to numerous questions about this as I watch the videos of these people who are suffering from this. I mean, this is a major deal. This is a deal that, in a worst case scenario, I suppose it's possible that the kingpin could disconnect from the camper, and the camper could go skirting off down the road as you're driving down the highway without anything pulling it. I don't know that that can happen. I'm not an engineer, but it sounded to me from the way some of the owners are describing it. And a lot of what they're complaining about is they're not feeling the love, the support from the RV manufacturer. And that is, to a great degree, who has to be the point person on this. This is way beyond the dealers. The dealers can't handle this. And frankly, the RV frame manufacturer wholesales the product to the RV manufacturer. They're the ones that put it together. So I would think that the RV manufacturer has to be the point on this whole thing for the people who are affected. So the questions that I am asking, and I have a background in science, so I'm looking at it objectively, is how widespread an issue is this? Um, it's, to me, it's likely it's not very widespread. It's not a large percentage of trailers that are being made, but there's no data to support that. Nobody is coming out and saying, well, we make so many 100,000 frames in a year and there are so many that fail. I mean, it's a mechanical device. You have to expect, just like I'm driving a Ford F-350. I'm sure that there are a number of F-350s each year that fail, but the failure rate's got to be pretty low. I'm pretty comfortable with my purchase of a Ford F-350, but do I expect, if Ford built 100,000, that all 100,000 are perfect? No. It's built by humans and there's going to be a failure rate. We don't know what the failure rate is in this. Um, in terms of the next question, who's experiencing this? And the answer is large fifth wheels and those with large toy hauler fifth wheels. So when I say large, figure your cutoff is at 40, 41 feet. Anything over 40, 41 feet, I would be sensitive to this issue and I would be looking at it, particularly if they were built within the last 4 or 5 years. That seems to be the years that are being impacted. And I did go to a couple of people who are in the industry and get their take on it to see exactly how widespread it is. Again, that's in the report, the written report, rvcrossamerica.net/frameflex. Whose fault is this? And again, having a background in science, I know there are many variables. The weight and weight distribution that's added by the end user. Are they overloading the camper? The usage of the camper. Is it being used beyond what the manufacturers intended? The roads that they traveled, for example, and then the manufacturer's issues, which would be the aluminum cage, the welding that was done, the frame welds. And again, I get more into this in my post. Over time, hopefully, we're going to get some answers, but I have an even bigger question. Before I get to this, I've got to share this again. Um, Goldbacks. You've seen what's been happening with the price of silver and the price of gold. I don't think that that pattern is going to change. This is a little bill that can fit into your billfold as easily as a greenback, and a goldback is being recognized by several states as a means of exchange of value. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of merchants now across the country that you can come in and bring your gold back. This is a one. It contains 1/1000th of an ounce of gold. This contains 5/1000ths of an ounce of gold. And the one, when I first started buying them, was about $3.75. Now they're about $1 to $1.25 more. They've appreciated. It is not like buying bullion gold. You're paying more for it per ounce, but you're paying for the convenience, the ability to take this and if Starbucks accepted it, buy a Starbucks coffee. I don't know that they do, but I do know that independent coffee shops, if I brought this into my local coffee shop here in Anaconda, I'd be surprised if the owner didn't accept it, especially after they did a little bit of research on what it is. Enough of that, but I've got a link in the post. You can go again in the post /frameflex, rvcrossamerica.net /frameflex, and you can get the story on this. You can get the full story on Goldbacks. I've also met the CEO, so I know that it's a legitimate process. And I've watched Mike Adams as he melted down some Goldbacks just to verify that they contain gold and that they contain at least as much as they claim as belongs in there, if not more. So here's my big question. I listened to, again, many of the videos of these people who are suffering from this in their large fifth wheels, and several of them said, we bought this camper to go see the USA. And I don't want to sound obnoxious. I don't want to sound headstrong, but, this is what I do in my concierge business. I work with buyers, particularly sometimes new buyers, and get them to understand that there are places that a camper can go and places a camper can't go. If you buy a Scamp or if you buy an Oliver or if you buy a small outdoors RV or a small Arctic Fox travel trailer, you could take that thing pretty deep into the woods. If you buy a camper like mine, it's a 34-foot, 11-inch fifth wheel, 35-foot fifth wheel. It'll go a lot of places. It'll go into some state parks. It'll go into some national parks, but not everywhere. You get into a 40-footer, and I wrote a post about ideal length, and it's kind of like almost a parabolic curve of where you can't go when you're over 40 feet. And I point out in my post that, well, if your world is limited to private RV parks like KOAs and Good Sam's, or maybe going up into the Bighorns in Wyoming and driving 100 yards off of a U.S. highway, which is what cuts through the Bighorns. They're U.S. highways and interstates are the highways that tractor trailers can take, 18-wheelers. Well, if an 18-wheeler can go there, certainly almost any trailer or RV camper can go there, motorhome. But then if you turn off of the main road and want to get up into the hinterlands, where can you take these big campers? And the answer is not very far. Maybe up one dirt road or gravel road, a mile or two, if that, and then onto an open field. If that's your world, then God bless you. Go buy a big camper and you'll run the risk of, at least until they solve this with most of the manufacturers of this frame flex issue. There are a couple of manufacturers not suffering from it. And again, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be glad to get into this with you. By the way, my concierge service, just call me 307-269-2546 Mountain Time. 307-269-2546. I'll be glad to speak with you and advise you and my introductory discussion, unless we get into real depth. I mean, I'll just talk to you for nothing. I just want to share with you what you should be considering to make sure you make a good decision. But then obviously I do charge to get into the service so that I can provide you soup to nuts service on what I do. Um, and that's one of the things that I get into with my concierge clients to uh, be advised that there is a length that you don't want to go over. And, the magic number might be 30, but if you're a full timer like me, I allow it to go to 35, maybe 36, 37 if you need a bunk model so that you can take the kids along with you and still get into some places that are off the beaten path, off grid, boondocking, dry camping, whatever you want to call it. Um, I also work with people to make sure, and I encourage you, even if you don't call me, to make sure you buy a camper that emphasizes quality of construction. And I'll tell you right now, there aren't many. If you're looking, by all means, you've got my number, you've got the post here, and you can certainly reach out to me through the contact on my webpage, whether you hit that from a phone or from a laptop or a desktop, it's all going to be the same. Um, so I'd welcome it if you share your thoughts. If you're seeing this on my post, if you're actually on my post, go down below, leave comments. I read them all, I respond to them all. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. I'd love to hear if you find value in what I say and what I write. And again, if this is on YouTube or any video service, like, subscribe, and comment. Please reach out. Let's get that algorithm awake so that more people are able to see these videos. That's how these video services work. If there are people liking it and commenting on it and adding subscriptions, then more people are going to be told by the video service, hey, we think this is good information. Go check it out. We've seen you have an interest in RVing. And again, the post, rvcrossamerica.net/frameflex, FRAMEFLEX. Alan here in southwestern Montana, waiting our next snowstorm. It is May 22nd. I am so tired of this. Fortunately, a few days from now, it looks like right after the Memorial Day weekend, maybe Monday of Memorial Day, we're going to hit over 70 degrees and we're probably going to be in the upper 60s and 70s every day, hopefully from now until early or mid-September. I'm done with the snow. I'm done with the cold weather. We got down to about 24 degrees the other morning. I'm like, really? Anyway, have a great day, morning, evening, whenever you're seeing this, and you take care.